Yes, because we are the experts. Many people from the West believe that Chinese people got brainwashed. So that make us the experts. Does that make sense?
We all live in a box. Everyone lives in a box.
Many people from the West believe that Chinese people got brainwashed. So that make us the experts. Does that make sense? And we believe the best brainwashing is the people who got brainwashed don't even realize he got brainwashed. How many Western people believe that they know China better than our Chinese just because they believe they have free media? They can watch documentary, they can use Google, Facebook, Instagram, so they know China better than we do because China banned them. China didn't ban them. They refused to follow the regulation from Chinese government. TikTok follow the regulation from American government. Look what TikTok become. They don't want you guys to know any information from outside the world. And you guys worry about Chinese got brainwashed. Yeah. White supremacies come from arrogant. And arrogant come from ignorant. Ignorant. Anyway, you got me.
This is what wealth inequality in the United States actually looks like. This grain of rice represents $200,000. That's about the median net worth of a citizen in the United States, which means if you took our population and drew a line split down the middle, about half of us have this much or less. Half of us have this much or less. Just gonna put that down right there, 1 grain of rice. This is $1 million, 5 grains of rice. When most of us think rich, we think of $1 million. This is $100 million. This is about the net worth of CEOs who delay and deny care for sick Americans. This is also about the net worth of CEOs who tell Americans to eat cereal if they can't afford food for their hungry kids. This is $277 million. This is Elon Musk's personal investment in the 2024 elections. This is what he spent to buy the presidency. This is $1 billion. This is the approximate net worth of Vivek Ramaswamy. Only 800 people in the United States have this much money or more. As a frame of reference, think about how many people you went to high school with. Only 800. And this is $6.3 billion. This is the approximate net worth of Donald Trump. He recently said in an interview that he doesn't think he can bring grocery prices down after running his campaign on a promise to do so. He also blames immigrants who have less than a fraction of a grain of rice each for a lot of the financial troubles facing our country. And this is Elon Musk. He's worth $400 billion. He spent $277 million on the 2024 election cycle, while we have homeless veterans on our streets and hungry kids in our schools. This is what actual wealth disparity looks like in America. Each grain of rice is worth $200,000. And Elon Musk also wants to fire 75% of our federal workforce, which includes a majority of veterans. He wants to fire 75% of these people who have a single grain of rice, trying to earn a living and feed their families, because he says that that's inefficient. Musk, Ramaswamy, and certain members of Congress also want to consider cutting social welfare programs to support people with less than a single grain of rice from going into poverty. They want to look at cutting these programs because they believe that that's inefficient.
Don't believe your lying eyes, America. You need to believe President Trump. So I watched some of Trump's address. Not a lot of it because I got tired of hearing all that yelling. But I'm going to tell you something that I noticed. Trump is completely out of touch with 99.9% of America. So you had a billionaire standing at the podium last night telling millions of working class people that they're liars, that the price of everything has gone down, the price of everything is so cheap, and that everything is so much better. That's what he said. You're not supposed to believe what you see when you go to the grocery store, when you go to a department store. You're not supposed to believe your lying eyes. You're supposed to believe him and what he says. For the 1%, things are great. Things are great. Prices have dropped for them, but for the working class people of America, rich people have pretty much said, screw us, and the president agrees. People are out here deciding between paying their light bill or buying groceries, and the president of the United States said, that's a whole lie. Parents are worried about if their children will have access to a decent education, but Trump says that's a whole lie. Folks can't find jobs or either out here working 2-3 jobs and still can't afford to pay all their bills. But Trump says that's a lie. And it's arrogance. To be honest, when you look at it and the things he said, it's arrogance. If he's okay, by proxy, you should be okay too. And he doesn't really care if you are or not. Understand, when a president ignores the cost of living, food prices, housing prices, and wages, and that's the beginning of the end. I told y'all a long time ago, MAGA will tow water for Trump up until Trump's propaganda doesn't match their reality. Because you can lie to yourself up until you get to that grocery store and realize you can't afford those groceries. Because when someone tells you don't trust your own self, but trust me instead, that's when you know you're not winning. So I'm asking the question, y'all tired of winning yet? Because I know my ass is.
Every time people adjust themselves for capitalism, you're teaching people up top that people will suffer. So every time someone's like, man, I'm working so hard, I have a degree, I did everything I was supposed to do, but I can't even afford to have a car in a 1-bedroom place by myself and have any money at the end of the month for insurance or anything else. When you come on here and you're like, just get a roommate, oh my god, just share a car, oh my god, just spend less, do less, do less, do less. You're literally just bootlicking for the fact that capitalism is constantly turning that dial and seeing how much you're willing to suffer. And the fact is, a lot of those comments are agents of chaos putting that sentiment through there, aka like feds, other accounts try to convince people that this is normal, and then other people read that and they're like, oh my god, yeah, it is normal. I am just lazy. I do just need to have 5 roommates as a 40-year-old who has a career and is making 100K. Because where I'm living and making that money is only in this city, and that city is expensive. Every single time you tell someone to just move to a different city, you're telling them, yeah, you don't deserve to be where you grew up, where your career is, where your friends are. You should just go off, because this is only for people that can keep up with how stupidly expensive things are getting for no reason.
For those of you who still don't think we should be taxing the rich, here's some perspective. If you go back 1 million minutes, you get to the beginning of 2024. If you go back 1 billion minutes, you get to the Roman Empire, specifically the year 124. The average American salary, annual salary, is $67,000. If you go back 67,000 minutes, it's October 29th. October 29th compared to the Roman Empire. That's a whole lot of inequality.
How many Western people believe that they know China better than our Chinese?
You could still own a car under socialism. You could still own a house under socialism. You just couldn't own 10 houses and live in one and then rent the other 9 out for profit, because your right to own multiple properties and then use them to generate profit for yourself is not more important than people's right to have access to a necessity of life like housing. You can even still start and own a business under socialism. You just can't then privately hold that business and collect all the profit yourself if you decide to expand that business and then need workers and the labor they provide to grow that business. If you have to hire people to work in your business, they deserve an equal share of the profit because their labor generates that profit. In fact, under socialism, you would own more than you do now, because the collective ownership of businesses and the more equitable distribution of wealth to we the workers and the people of the world would enable us to all have more. We would actually have more material goods in our life and be more fulfilled. Right now, under capitalism, we really don't own anything. Who owns your house? Is it the bank or is it you? Who owns your car? Again, is it a bank or someone giving you a loan, or is it you? The necessities of life like food, water, and housing and healthcare do not need to be commoditized and sold back to us for a profit so that an ultra small group of hyper wealthy elites can become even richer. Unless you are a literal fucking billionaire redistributing wealth back to the people and the workers of the world who create the value in the goods and services of the businesses we already work at, would not harm you. We as humans and people should always be looking to include and cooperate, not exclude and compete, because through cooperation we can achieve more than we ever can through competition.
The United States is in somewhat of an infrastructure crisis. One of the most infamous cases, the California high-speed rail. The project was authorized in 2008, which was meant to connect Los Angeles and San Francisco, significantly reducing the travel time between these two cities. After 17 years and over $100 billion, it has finally reached the state where there's no definite deadline to finish this rail. $100 billion. That's the amount of money you can use to buy 100 more America's first black president.
When I say China cares about its citizens, the best example I can think about is how the Chinese high-speed rail network is massively in debt. Outside of lines like the one from Beijing to Shanghai, it really doesn't turn a profit. It moved 4 billion people last year, yet China Railway Group is around 1 trillion yuan in debt. Now, this video isn't about finances. Think about why China would build the world's most expansive high-speed rail network and operate it at a loss. Why they would expand it to remote regions like Xinjiang, which everyone loves to talk about on here, and operate it on a loss. I cannot think of any other reason outside of China actually cares about its people. And most importantly, they are smart enough to understand that the money they lose in investing in this project will be returned in some way through the time that they are saving their citizens, the convenience they're providing to their citizens, and to the happiness and economic growth that both of those things lead to. That Beijing to Shanghai trip takes around 4.5 hours on their fastest rail line. To put that in a language Americans understand, that is a 12-hour drive cut down to about a third for around $80. Pretty good deal to me. So the question is, does the US simply not understand that investment into its own people like this? Or do we, by we I mean our politicians, simply choose not to understand it?
So the American dream is to leave, but for me, this is more than just a dream. It's actually a race against time for my own health. Have you ever looked into what they put in the food here that's illegal like everywhere else? Or how other places have walkable cities where you're not forced to be in your car all the time? Or how we're the only country where there's medical bankruptcies if you get in an accident or need medical care? I know personally, I can't find a doctor here. Every health insurance plan I have drops me and I have to find a new one every year. And next year's premiums are way too high. I don't know if I can even pay it. Not to mention, all the food I eat here hurts my stomach and I'm forced to drive everywhere I want to go. But here's the thing. I don't think this is how it has to be, and I've seen this because I've been outside of this country. When I was in Portugal last, I noticed the pace of life was a little bit slower. Now, I'm not trying to romanticize things. Obviously, they have to work jobs. There's a big cost of living crisis there too. But their relationship with work is way healthier than the one we have here in the States. Not to mention the food made me feel amazing, and it was probably the freshest food I've ever eaten in my whole life. And the cost of their healthcare, I haven't experienced it firsthand, but let's just say it is a fraction of what we pay here. I think in the States we're being sold convenience and speed at the price of our own mental health and our own physical health. But I don't think that this is a viable long-term solution. You can even see this in the statistics of life expectancy going down in this country. My solution is I'm moving abroad. It's not going to solve all my problems, but I need to live somewhere where I can have a doctor and where I can afford health insurance, eat good food, and not have to drive everywhere. I really can't just stick around here waiting for things to change and hoping for the best. If the American system works for you, that is awesome. I'm not here to bash any one way of living. I'm just suggesting that this way doesn't quite work for me and it might not work for you. So what about you? I'd love to hear your story and I'd love to hear what you're planning on doing in the future in regards to your own health. Are you sticking it out here hoping it gets better? Or maybe are you looking to move somewhere else where health is more of a priority? We only get one life. And to me, our health is non-negotiable. And for me, it's just a race against time to live somewhere where I can take care of my mind and my body before it's too late.
I had just made the executive decision that I will be permanently leaving the United States in less than a year and a half. Say what you will, but this is every reason I have of why I want to leave. Let's speed run this shit. Number one, if you're not making at least $150,000 a year or more, or at least have multiple streams of income, congratulations, you will be struggling for a very long time. Rent is incredibly expensive. It is almost impossible to buy a house. People cannot afford to rent an apartment or to live by themselves. Wages have been decreasing. Insurance is a scam. Healthcare and insurance has went up and millions of American citizens no longer have healthcare. Many of the jobs online that you can apply to are fake. Hundreds of thousands of people are losing their jobs. Inflation keeps increasing, and all the administration has to do is blame Biden for it. Number two, racism is extremely belligerent all across the United States. Not just towards black people, but for other people of color who isn't a white Christian. Black people and other people of color are losing their rights, their equality, and their freedom. Asians, Hispanics, Arabs, Muslims, the list goes on. This country is incredibly hateful, spiteful, and the only thing they do is blame others for their downfall. Since the beginning of 2025, based on records, 7 black men has been found lynched. still no justice for any of them to this day. White supremacists, Proud Boys, Nazis, they're out there marching, chanting out in public while our government, our president, and our law enforcement does nothing about it. Number 3, we are completely controlled by Israel and billionaires. We fall under an oligarchy. But hey, at least Elon Musk will become a trillionaire, right? Number 4, since the beginning of 2025, there has been 75 school shootings. 53 are dead, while 148 were injured. There has been 84 mass shootings, not including school shootings. The death count is still climbing to this day. Number 5, bombing and going to war with unnecessary countries. Iran, Venezuela, need I say more? Number 6, tariffs. They have done nothing but make the American citizens' lives harder. All it did was make everything more expensive. It was supposed to bring back jobs to the United States, but we're actively losing them. Number 7, our administration and the government has severely defunded the education system. Colleges, high schools, even Ivy Leagues has been severely defunded. So much so that they don't even have enough money to give out scholarships to the kids who rightfully deserve it. Number 8, tax breaks, not for the average American citizen, but for billionaires and anyone else who is making over $250,000 a year. Anyone else who falls under that bracket, congratulations, you're getting taxed more. And number 8, insurance company has the absolute right to decline you of any services if they don't feel like paying it to you. If you get cancer, break an arm, maybe get sick or something else happens, maybe a car accident, they can look at that shit and go, nah. Or better yet, they could just flat out cancel your insurance claim or your account. Number 9, maternity leave fucking sucks in the United States. The most you'll ever get, especially after you've gave birth, is maybe 2 months. Most likely less. Remember, you're a slave to the corporation. You don't actually have freedom. Pay time off, sick leave, just about. You get hardly any of that. When you have accumulated at least 2 weeks of vacation time in the last 3 years alone, they will do everything they can to keep you from not taking it. What can I say? That's American corporations, right, America? Number 10, there are American celebrities and billionaires, including multiple people who hold a chair in the government affiliation and power, are human traffickers. Number 11, America doesn't have universal health care. That's a big one. So if you get sick, have cancer, break a leg, maybe get shot, guess what? It costs you an arm and a leg to get better. I still have like 10 more, but I'm not going to do that. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. America's the greatest country in the world.
We all live in a box. Everyone lives in a box.
Go follow.
Okay. No travel, no life. With everything, there's positives and negatives, bro. Nothing's perfect in this world. That's why you make us
The goal for everybody should be like, we were pursuing for the perfect life, right? We should be pursuing for better life.
Is that possible, though?
Keep dreaming, you can be possible. Like for example, like you've been to so many places, you have seen different part of it, and you have different perspective. You now have more like the right like version than any other people. Like, you know, there's different way of doing things in this world. Like if you're always living in one place, you stop thinking like that, especially when the government feeding you this kind of like false information about the outside world.
Right.
You stop thinking. You think, you know, you're just, I think you see, I don't know about Canada because I have lots of my Canadian viewers, they're very nice.
Yeah.
But I have lots of US viewers, they will come in here, try to attack the stream.
Yeah.
Because they cannot accept the ideology that we are having right now. You know, here, like, we accept everybody come to China. There's only...
Bro, that's what makes you different, though.
Right.
You're trying to follow.
Right.
A lot of people don't want to do that. And that's why maybe your viewers can get the message from this is follow your passion, keep your mind open. We all live in a box. Everyone lives in a box. It's just how big are you willing to expand your box? I lived a normal life for 10 years, like 9-to-5 job, kept it simple, relationship I wasn't happy in. And then one day I said, bro, if I don't change it now, when am I going to change it? So there are people in life that are actually cool with just living like a boring, simple, a life. Sometimes it's better to live a life where you don't know what's going on so that you can actually just chill into life. But if you open your eyes to new experiences and new things, I think you can broaden your
open-minded.
The more open-minded you are, it tends to be the more lonely you get until you find the people that are open-minded just like you. And maybe that's why we met.